Club podcast. Today we're starting our discussion on the first of our fan-voted games, or guest-chosen games. I'm your host, Marcus, and joining me today, as always, are the homies. First up, we got Greg.
Yo, what's up?
Next, we got the homie Trevor.
What's going on?
And last but not least, we got our guest, Ree. What's up, man?
What's going on, y'all?
Doing pretty good. So the way we went about this was each of us chose two games, and then we put the games on a list and sent it to Ree, and we let Ree choose the game. And Ree, you want to talk about the game you chose and why you chose it?
Yeah, I chose a Baba Is You because Asura's Wrath wasn't on the list.
Hold up.
And
Why didn't y'all tell me?
it's a very cute and fun puzzle game. I bought it on the Switch. You play as a sheep-like creature.
Oh, you didn't gotta go that far. Just
okay, bet.
Basically, you chose Asura's Wrath, or excuse me, Bobby, because there was no Asura's Wrath, right?
Yeah, and also I saw that it was on sale in the eShop store, so I was like, shoot. I wonder why this game's so popular. I heard good things about it. So I went ahead and scooped it up before I confirmed it with y'all. But I really wanted to try the game out. I do like puzzle games. I like games I can pick up, and put down and just kind of play. Have little brain teasers and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's funny. So Trevor's been trying to get us to play Asura's Wrath since the very beginning.
Oh, wow.
So if he would have known that you would have chose it, man.
You tell me all we have to do is invite Ree.
Look, man, dog, I got like 3 posters of Asura's Wrath in my room. Like, right now. I love that game.
All right, we'll have to bring them back there for you, Trevor. All right, well, so we're playing Baba's You, as Reese said. So let me go ahead and do the pseudo quick intro. So Baba Is You is a puzzle game created by Finnish indie developer RV Tekarai. It was created out of the 2017 Nordic Game Jam, which had the theme Not There, and it won first place. Tekarai was then a student at the University of Helsinki, and he envisioned a game concept based on manipulating logic operators. He explained that levels were often created working backwards by brainstorming a cool or amusing solution and then coming up with how the player would accomplish that. He noted that the most satisfying moments in puzzle games are those which present the player with simple but hard to wrap your head around situations, so that solving the puzzle is about finding out that one neat trick or twist. He planned to release the full game in 2018 and placed a development version of the title for download at itch.io. And after the game won Best Student Game and Excellence in Design at the Independent Games Festival in March 2018, a clone game of the same title and very similar graphics was released by a French publisher on the App Store. And so he had to work with the French division of Apple to remove the game. And it continued to win various game awards throughout 2018 and 2019. And then in March of 2019, Baba Is You was officially released on PC and Switch. And there is a cross-platform level editor with level sharing capabilities that is expected to be added to the game sometime this year. So be on the lookout for that, y'all. And as far as the game itself, the game centers around the manipulation of rules which are represented by tiles with words written on them. And you, Baba, the protagonist, need to manipulate the tiles in order to reach a specific goal. Each level contains various movable word tiles corresponding to specific types of objects and obstacles on the field, such as a Baba, the goal flag, walls, environmental hazards, and other creatures. And you move the verb tiles with operators such as is and not, and the object of each level is for the player to reach the goal by manipulating these tiles to create or modify rules by which they behave. So, let's kick it to you too, Trevor. How come you chose this game? What was it about this game that wanted you to even throw it on the list?
Because one of the big, discussions, I don't want to say arguments, we always have on the podcast is about puzzles. So I was really interested in seeing what if we played like a pure puzzle game.
Mm-hmm.
and then that could kind of help us tailor our collective definition of puzzles, like whenever we're discussing puzzles in other games. And also last year, around the time there was like deliberation on Game of the Year and stuff, this game popped up a lot. So I was already interested in playing it. And then, of course, the other reason why I wanted to play it was because it's available on Switch. And this is the exact kind of game that I would be into on Switch. Because, you know, it's you know, it has short levels that you can, you know, pop in and out of. You know, it doesn't take a huge chunk of time. I can play it on my lunch breaks. But yeah, that was pretty much the reasons why I chose this game.
All right, so you and Ree played on Switch. What you play on, Greg?
Oh, I played on PC.
Hell yeah! I had already bought it on PC like a while ago, and I just hadn't. Otherwise, I would have got on Switch, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty good game for that.
Yeah. All right, so I mean, this game, like me and Greg talked about it. We said this is gonna be a short episode.
Whoa. How?
So what you think?
You can put so many words together about this game.
All right, you start.
Literally.
Oh, did you say me?
Yeah, Ree, you can start.
Okay, sick. Yeah. Oh man, you know, I love a challenging game, right? Like I play Catherine all the time, right? So
okay.
You play what?
Catherine.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, dude, I went and rebought.
The full body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to do that too.
And man, I swear that's just like a glutton for punishment. But anyway, but translating to this game, I hate being like it feels like the game is very pretentious.
Hell
because
yeah.
it's just simple words, right? It's like maybe Baba is you, rock is push. But then I'm sitting here for 30 minutes sweating, trying to figure out why I can't figure this out, and like I'm 2 seconds away from going to a YouTube video. But overall, I think the game was put together really well. It's just like Trevor said earlier. It's just something I can pick up and play and be challenged, and it's quirky enough to keep you going, you know. And when you finally do figure the puzzle out, it definitely still has a really good, like, satisfying feeling. Like figuring stuff out doesn't make you mad or like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't figure that out. It makes you go to the next one. And there's plenty of puzzles. There's a lot of content in that game, especially for the price. So yeah, overall, man, I really enjoy what I'm playing right now.
You know, the thing is, usually when I figure out, or when I find out the solution, I'm like, why didn't I even, like, usually it's something simple enough here, like, or at least early on, it's like that. It's like, why didn't I just figure that out? Like, it just seems, at least the puzzle I ran into, it felt like that. But yeah, later on, it gets pretty complex. It goes layers into layers on like how you have to set up the phrases, basically.
So, like, when me and Trevor played, what was it, The Gardens Between or something, Trevor? That was the name of the game?
Yeah.
Like, that was a puzzle game. And I remember specifically complaining that the game was too easy for too long. And this was, like, the perfect ramp up. Because I remember playing those first, like, was it like 6 levels of Babo? So that they kind of teach you the game? Teach you the
like
how to
before
play?
you open up the overworld.
Yeah, it's almost like a tutorial, basically. And it was perfect as far as, like, showing you how to think outside the box. Then you hit World 1, and, you know, I really like how the game goes about allowing you to advance, where it's something like I believe there's like 20 levels per world, and I think there's 10 worlds total. I think I read that there was over 200 levels. And you really only have to beat like 8 in order to advance to the next world. So I dug that. But honestly, by like world 3, I was like, Reed was talking about, I'm only like 5 seconds away from going to YouTube. I stayed on YouTube after a while. I was like,
hey, no shame. I had to do it a few times too. Like I just couldn't. I couldn't figure it out, man. I'm just sitting there, and usually the way I approached it would be like, okay, well, I can't figure this one out. I'm going to go to another one and see if maybe that sparks up an idea that makes it easier for me to get to the other one. And then eventually I started running out of puzzles, and I'm like, all right, bro, we gotta hit YouTube.
So like for me, it was like I think I don't think did any of us beat the game.
I didn't.
No.
How many worlds did you unlock, Greg?
I think I was at World 5, I want to say. World 5 or 6, I forget.
Okay, and what about you, Ree?
Man, I don't know, dude. I just been playing into like a vortex. Let me see. As a matter of fact, 'cause I got it right here in my hand. God bless. How do you get... Okay, so level Island 5.
All right.
Okay.
What about you, Trevor?
I believe 10.
Okay, you were on World 10?
Grinding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just unlocked it. I got the 7th. Well, just to kind of, I guess, explain the mechanics of how the levels work. Each level that you complete throughout the worlds opens up, or doesn't open up. I think you open up like 3 of like the sub-worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And each level that you complete within those sub-worlds gives you a dandelion.
Yeah.
And then once you get a certain amount of dandelions in each sub-world, it gives you a lotus flower.
Yep.
And you can unlock other sub-worlds by getting a certain amount of lotus flowers.
Yeah, they're gate kept. So, like, there's 10 lotus flowers, right? That's how you unlock all 10 of the sub-worlds?
Well, level 10 only requires 7.
Oh, okay.
And the good thing about that, too, is you don't have to complete all of the levels in each sub-world.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
You can kind of bounce around and, pick and choose how you want to collect the dandelions and where you can get your lotus flowers.
Well, what I was going to say is I thought you had to... to unlock a lotus flower, you had to get a certain amount of dandelions from one state, like one sub-world. So you couldn't go like, okay, I got a lotus flower from World 1, go to World 2, and you need to get 7 dandelions, get 6 there, and then get a 7th in a different world. You had to get all 7 from the same world.
Right.
So I like that because it forces you to... Because each world introduces a new, like twist on the premise, right? Because I think it's like the first world is basically, Baba is you, flag is win, flag is push, rock is push, wall is stop, things like that. And then I think the second world they add I think. And for me, I had unlocked the first 9 worlds, but I was only on World 6, and at that point there was like conveyor belts, has and not were also modifiers.
No, thank you.
Say what?
I said no, thank you.
Yeah. So you could have something like Baba has box, or like box has Baba, box is weak. So every time you destroyed a box, a Baba was inside or something. It was just really silly stuff. And like, it was really cool. Like, actually, let me take that back. I do recommend looking at YouTube if you feel like there's just a level that you don't understand or not going to get, because it does show you, like, especially if you're not close to a solution, it shows you like a different way of thinking about the game. So even if you feel like you're cheating yourself for one level, it is giving you the knowledge and prepping you to, know how to beat future levels. Because like one of the cool things about this game is that on any particular world, there's typically like a easy version of a level and then a harder version where they take something away. So it's like the same exact level, but they remove like a word or something like that and make you solve it a different way, even though it's basically the same level. And I really dug that about this game.
It's kind of like your B-sides.
Yeah, it's like the B-sides in Celeste. Exactly.
So I do have one question.
Okay.
Well, you can go ahead, Greg, if it's, I don't want to get off of what Marcus was just talking about.
Well, it was just going to be like in regards to kind of like the difficulty of the game, or if there, I guess, is, like a high difficulty spike. Do you guys think that the game should have had some type of like a hint system or anything like that, or you think it's just kind of fine the way?
It's interesting because I don't think, just like watching the YouTube videos, like Marcus said, you can almost get stuck on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think with the hint system, it would almost, like, it would hurt more than it would help you because you would become reliant on it.
Yeah, I guess I could see
Because I don't recall any, besides like the extra or the bonus levels, I don't recall any solutions being too similar, even within like the subworlds. Like they were all pretty much different, even when it came down to like how you arrange the text.
Yeah, and especially in a game like this where it feels like it definitely fatigues you, especially like because it's so much, you can just sit there and just hammer at it. It'll get to a point where I'll just start working towards the hint rather than the solution, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like for me, one of the things was, and I read this in a couple of reviews that people had as well, where this is one of those games where you're like, you know, you maybe knock out like 4 or 5 levels and you get stuck on a level and you're like, damn, like why can't I figure this out? And you just bang your head against this level for like 30 minutes and then you can kind of just turn the system off because you're frustrated and then that's all you're thinking about when you're not playing and then something hits you and you're like, hold up, let me try this. And then you try it, but next time you start up the game and then, you know, either it works or it like, you know, you're thinking about this game outside of this game.
Right. I hate to keep on comparing it to Catherine, but I kind of felt the same way. It's like whenever I get stumped on a level, like it'll beat me up, right? And then I just sit there, not thinking about it. I put the PS4 on sleep mode, and I go lay down, and I'm like, man, what if I just turn this way and push this way? And then I rush to my PS4, and it still doesn't work, just like with this game.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all in good fun though. Like it definitely kept me like continually reaching for my Switch at the bedside.
That's a perfect analogy because I like thinking about Catherine. I remember having dreams when we played Catherine and like just like I really like. There's certain puzzle games where if you get it like you super feel them. Like for me, anyways, I like dream in that puzzle game.
I see what you did there.
But yeah, like Catherine was definitely one of those games. P-Cross is like that for me. And I actually didn't really have Baba Dreams because, you know, I guess I was too deep in the YouTube at that point.
Man, nah. I didn't have any Baba Dreams, but I definitely thought about it while I was at work, which is just as toxic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Go ahead, Trevor.
I was just going to say the one thing that kind of helps you, like if you do need hints, is like the earlier levels kind of, they give you a lot more free room, I've noticed. Whereas, like, once you go into a subworld, each of the levels are numbered, and there's not really, like, a particular order that you don't have to follow the numerical order of the levels. Mm-hmm. They just kind of open up based on, like, which squares are adjacent to them. But I noticed, like, in the earlier levels, in each subworld, they're a little bit more open than the latter ones. The latter ones are more closed off. But in the open ones, it's like they're almost giving you more space to kind of play around with the text, and especially if they give you new words to use or new what do they call them? I looked it up on the wiki and forgot.
Operators.
Yeah, operators. Whenever they give you new operators, they kind of give you that space to kind of play around with them, and I thought that was kind of like your tutorial level for each subworld.
Hey, I will say though, there was a couple, like there's an early level that I can think of and a later level where you're like super zoomed in and you have like no space to move around, and like those levels were super frustrating because I'm like,
yeah,
it's like obviously the answer is staring me right in my face. Why can't I figure this out?
It's like it's literally telling you, okay, here's the answer.
Now how do you get to it?
Right.
And like the one thing I will say, like, was there anything that kind of stumped you guys, or like a system that you just never understood?
Grammatical errors. So this really messed with me. I think it was one of the earlier levels where you can say a wall is you, and you can become the wall and move around and you can touch the flag.
Yeah.
But I felt like that never worked ever again.
Right.
and it bothered me so much because I would just move it around and say a wall is you, and it'd be like, oh, now you're a wall. Congratulations, you can't move, stupid. Yeah, hit X.
Or a wall is stop, and now you just run into
and I'm
yourself.
just like, man, why would you give me this and then not ever let me use it again?
There was one. I really sucked at any of the ones that were like the robot is move or something like that.
Yeah,
Those ones I sucked with. And then there was a couple of levels that started implementing the teleporter. And
Those are kind of tricky.
Those are my favorite ones.
And then there was one where you had to like line up Baba on the same like square as the flag before it became flag as win, because you couldn't walk into the flag. It was like one of those levels where you had, like, I don't know how to describe it other than like it was like you had to touch the flag to win, but you couldn't walk into it.
There was a similar level just like that with the word swap.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, I don't know if you got that far.
I don't think so.
Okay, so one of the operators is swap. So if, say for instance, rock is swap, every time you touch the rock, like if you walk into the square that the rock is sitting on, it'll basically swap places with you. So if the rock is win, and it's also rock is swap, you can never actually touch it. But there was a, let me see, I'm trying to remember how that solution went. Basically, if you push something into the letter or into the rock, it would swap on top of you. And that was the only way you could get it.
That sounds whack.
that visibly made me upset. Though.
Yeah, and then the empty one too on the space world, Trevor. I remember there was one where like there was like holes on the world, and anytime you moved, more Babas showed up.
Yeah, that one was trippy.
And then so like it was like Baba is empty was the thing, and then any space that didn't have an item on it, a Baba appeared. Mm-hmm. And so like the whole level, there was probably about 11 Babas on the screen. It was wild.
And along those same lines, more so than the empty, I had trouble with whenever they used operator make.
I didn't even get that far. Damn.
So, like you would have an object, like you would have Kiki, and you could say Kiki make.
Oh my god, no!
Kiki make key, and also you'd have to have Kiki push, or Kiki is push. So every time you push Kiki, a key would appear, and if you don't have the right, I guess what would the words be like stop.
The term
they use. If or push. If you didn't have it so that key was push, then you basically just have a wall of keys and you couldn't move around it. So it was, there were certain levels like that where they really gave you the tools to mess yourself up.
Oh man, you hate to see it. You really hate to see that.
And like there were like I think in the latter part of the game that I had gotten to, you had to arrive at the solution in a specific order. Like you couldn't just figure out what the right combination of words was. Like you had to combine words and then break them up and then combine them in a different way in order to get to the solution. Whereas like earlier in the game, all you had to do was find the right combination of words, and it kind of leads you to the solution. Yeah.
And something else that kind of annoyed me with this, and I don't know if it's like a just like, oh, this is hard, pooey, or it's just something that's a problem. But I feel like in other puzzle games, you can kind of feel your way through the dark, and eventually you'll hit a red button. But it feels like in this game, everything was so specific and weird that you had to figure it out in their specific way, or else it just wasn't going to work.
Yeah, I would love to watch like multiple videos of people arriving to the solution in different ways.
Yeah, because in game, and I hate to go back to it again, Catherine.
No, we love it. We love it.
Like, I feel like in that game, if if I'm getting tore up in that game, I feel like there was like at least 4 different ways I can go about one thing, you know? And I don't know if this counts as a puzzle game, but kind of like Phoenix, right? Where
oh man, you just naming all the right games tonight.
when you're going through that game, and sometimes it's like it's complete BS, right? Where like the his defense attorney badge may be the thing that you need to present, but that only happens one time out of the entire game. But it just seems like in this one you could never kind of feel your way through the dark on that. You know, you kind of just had to. I guess I'm a rock now. I guess I guess this key floats and it doesn't sink. Okay, all right. I guess this. I figured it out. Congratulations. But I don't know if that's like a plus or minus to the game, or just something that makes it super unique.
So I wrote down a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you guys, but just going off that, I will say I do appreciate that they had that quick undo button, and you could basically undo from the all your moves up to the beginning of the level. Mm-hmm. So you could I turned into a rock and now I can't move, and now I'm dead, quote unquote. You could undo that or whatever. So kind of going off of what Reem just said, do you feel like the game was good about teaching you its rules?
I think so. I mean, it's the rules itself are pretty simple. I mean, they kind of it's the item, then a is or and or whatever the keyword, and then whatever the action that you can do after that. So it's like it's that, and then they just build upon it after each world. So it's simple, but it gets pretty complex like the deeper you get into it.
I want to say yeah, because I think the game teaches you how to play it through trial and error, which is my least favorite way to learn something. Mm-hmm. Kind of going back to I remember me and Greg talked about it, was The Evil Within, where you can never prepare yourself for this situation until you run into it, but for the most part, after you bump your head enough, you kind of come in with enough apprehension to kind of think outside the box or think outside the baba, right? Okay. And you kind of think outside the box to figure out these really abstract puzzles. So yeah, I do think that the game presents you with tools to help you learn how to play all the way through.
Okay. What about you, Trevor? Because I know for me, especially in the later levels, I had a little bit confusion on some of the more complex words because they kind of seemed a little bit vague or easily they could go one way or the other. So especially when they threw in not, there was some times where it was Baba is not win or something like that, where it basically, did you guys ever try to create a rule that as soon as you created it, there was red X's?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I couldn't figure out why it did that.
So it does that because there's a rule that the game already has established that would basically, like a double negative. So because this thing is true, you can't create a rule that makes that not true.
Right. So off the screen or outside of your play area, it may say Baba is Baba. So if you try to turn yourself into the flag where it says flag is win, so you can automatically win, it won't work.
Yeah.
You can do that on some levels, the earlier levels, but then they kind of they make it so that you can't do that.
Yeah. So they make certain rules, like he said, Baba is Baba or flag is flag. So there's nothing you can do about changing Baba to something else. You have to be Baba. And so it got a little bit confusing for me when they threw in the word not, because I wasn't sure. One, I wasn't sure how to use it. And I also had a little bit of confusion with, but as I got further into the game, I started to understand it. And the one I was currently on, I was on the levels with the conveyor belts and things like robot is right, robot is up, or robot is move, and like the different directions would orient the robot, but it wasn't until you put it at move that it would actually move in the direction it was facing. And so like that was a little bit tricky, especially when it's those types of levels where like you can't physically touch the key. You have to rely on the robot or Kiki or whatever to touch the key. And some of those like later levels were stupid complex.
Yeah, there's one where you have to, I think it's in the same subworld that you're talking about, Marcus, where you kind of have to guide Kiki or another object through something while you're simultaneously moving through another area.
Mm-hmm.
And those types of levels, I think that there was one level in particular where I had to like look it up on YouTube, but for the most part, I tried my hardest not to go on YouTube.
And there was one too where it was like those levels where you had two Babas that you were controlling, and you had to like kind of orient them so they were like not lined up in the same like plane, so you could push two words in a sentence simultaneously. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. And there was another one that was like Baba has text. There was two Babas. You would jump one Baba into the water. To get rid of the water, the word Baba would appear, and then you would have to move the Baba back down to Baba is, or text is Baba, and then keep going back. Do you remember that level, Trevor?
Vaguely.
It's just like crazy stuff like that, where it's like, damn, like.
Yeah, and I think whenever you had the operator has, it did make it more complex because that relied on other operators. Like, in order to destroy whatever object you're working with, in order to get like the object that it has. So I think that in itself is just going to cause even more complexity.
All right, got a couple more questions. So none of us beat this game. Do you guys have the desire to go and beat this game? Or do you feel like you got your fill of the game?
Like I said, I got this on Switch, so this is just going to be my lunch break game. Like, I can't play Zelda or Pokemon on my lunch break. Because
ain't no lunch. Ain't no break.
I won't be coming back. But like with this game, I can like set a timer, play a couple of levels. If I get stumped, I don't worry about it because I can move on to a different level and kind of jump around without spending too much time on any particular level. So I do plan on finishing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want 100% this game because there's so much to it, and it's so touch and go. Like you said, I can just pick this up whenever and just like slam out a few levels and put it back down. So, and then it's so easy to swap through games on the Switch, especially if you got them downloaded digitally. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to finish out this game just to say I did it.
Sure. What about you, Greg?
I don't know. Like,
Thank you.
So the only reason I think my experience would have been greatly enhanced by having this like on a portable thing, because this is like a game I could like, just in the bathroom,
exactly,
something like that. But like with PC, when I'm sitting down at my computer,
you won't be frustrated.
And it's like that's not the type of experience I'm looking for when I'm, when I want to like sit down in front of my computer. It's just like if this was like I guess it is mobile, but like if I could play this on my phone, like this would be perfect. Like I'm pretty sure I could finish this. Like I just downtime at work, I'd probably just go in and just play like try and knock out a few levels or something. But I don't know. It might be a cool thing to kind of stream and just like so maybe I'll do that as like a break between Street Fighter. So, but I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm committed to doing it, but I might find some time to like mess around with it. And it'd be something else I could do.
Well, I also have this on PC, and I am with you 100%. I wish I had bought. I mean, I have a Switch, so you just need to get a Switch.
Yeah,
basically. I foolishly did not get this for Switch, and unfortunately, I'm kicking myself for having not gotten on Switch because I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't really have any desire to like boot up my computer and play this game that often. It just doesn't vibe well, especially like how Ree and Trevor have said a couple times how this game is so easy to just kind of pick up and play. And usually, if I'm sitting at my computer, I'm usually playing like a longer game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm gonna. Like, I told myself I was gonna try to beat this game before we recorded, and I just did not even play today. And I don't really know if I'm going to finish this game out.
But if you get it on the Switch, you can see yourself doing that, though, right?
I think it would be a lot easier of a sell for me, where like kind of like what Trevor had said, where it's like I don't take my Switch to work, but like it would be something like that, where it's like, yo, like I'm waiting for Alyssa to get ready for us to go somewhere. Let me just cut on my Switch, and instead of playing a game of Tetris 99, I can play like a game of Baba, or try to knock out a couple levels of Baba.
So I do have one question.
Okay.
Did you look up any of like the in-game stuff? Is there a definitive end to this game?
I did not.
Because there's not really much in the way of narrative. And I know Dante's talking about me in the chat, saying I was praising this game and didn't even finish it.
Oh yeah, so I have not looked it up. I honestly I didn't really know if there was like a story, or like, what I'm saying, like I don't remember if there was like
like Baba and Kiki or lovers or something. And
yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But maybe there is. Who knows? I guess my last question was, this game fun?
Yes. This game is very fun.
Can we get Bree back in here, or do we have to?
He should be able to rejoin.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. Bree got kicked out. You back though? You can hear us?
Give him a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Cool. So my last question was: is this game fun? And Trevor said yes.
Man, yes, it is very fun.
Very fun. Okay.
In a sense, what puzzle games are fun, because when I think about fun, right, I think about something like Beautiful Joe. Now that game's fun, right? That game's a good time. But this is it kind of has its own version of fun. Like, so you have to be a glutton for punishment, right? You have to want to sit there and figure this out, and you have to buy into like the quirkiness of it. It's just not something that's put in front of you, and it's kind of appealing, kind of like a character action game, But for the most part, I can say that this game kind of checks all the boxes that a really good puzzle game checks. Well, should have. So yeah, it's very fun in that aspect.
I think that it's fun in the same way that somebody would enjoy, or somebody who does enjoy crossword puzzles would enjoy the crossword puzzle.
Sure. So like I think this game was fun, and the more I got into it, the less fun I was having. And like, I don't know if I have the patience for this game to like keep banging my head against something and not making progress. For whatever reason, I'm okay with that in something like, say, a fighting game.
Yeah.
But in a puzzle game where it's like me against myself,
Yeah, and
I'm
that was
just
the
kind of
thing-
like,
that was the thing I
I'm
was going to
done.
ask you too, Marcus. Do you think this game like communicates with you?
What you mean?
Like this type of game, and there are other puzzles.
Oh wait, this game is not my love language. Is that what you mean?
Not necessarily that, but this game doesn't have anything else to like kind of keep you going.
Me personally, or just the player?
Just the player. Like the only thing you have to strive to get to the next level is beating the level that you're on. There's not really any story beats. You're not trying to figure out, okay, who's the protagonist, who's the antagonist. It's you and a level.
Yeah. Like, to me, that's what like traditional puzzle games Word, like I have no problem sitting down and playing. I freaking love Picross, whatever you want, however you want to pronounce it. And it's the same thing where it's just like those games. I have to 100% where I'm beating a level without making any mistakes. If I make a mistake, I'm restarting the level. And like, there's something about those games that I have to do. I really enjoy playing those. It's the same thing. Like, there's no story in Tetris. Like old, like traditional, old school Tetris, and I have no problem like picking that up and playing like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour of Tetris. But there's something about this game where it's like I don't have the desire to keep going. If I get stuck on something, I'm just kind of like, oh well, I'll just try something. I'll literally just play a different level, and I just kept jumping from level to level, just kind of being frustrated, and it. Kind of like you said, there was no desire for me to like to continue on, and I see that the game is fun, and I think it's a well built game, but I just didn't have any desire to keep playing this well built game.
So, question: do you think it'll be different if you're playing on the Switch?
I do think that would help, but I don't know if it would just be like. It's not like I didn't play like keyboard and mouse. I did play with the gamepad on computer, and I just don't know. Like I have nothing but the only bad thing I have to say about this game is I didn't like the music.
Yeah.
Like that's the only bad thing I have to say about this game. But I also this is just in a game that I'm gonna run back to playing again. And I will recommend this game to people. Like I told Dante, he needs to play this game. I think he would really like this game. And he started playing it, and he really liked it. And I've told one of my coworkers, I was like, yo, I've been playing this game. I think you would really like it. But I think I can also recognize that I don't think this game is just for me.
Yeah, and kind of speaking to that point, because I feel like if I had to come to my computer, sit down, and use one of my monitors dedicated to Baba Is You, my love for the game would go down drastically.
It's silly though, because I can't think of I can't think of another game I would say that about. Like I guess
I definitely wouldn't want to play Picross on my computer.
Yeah,
so, and I love Picross.
Sure, but that's like a usability thing because you like using a stylus and having to turn the thing around. Like at least for me, when I was playing on 3DS, that makes sense. Why? Like there's nothing about Baba that you can do on Switch that you can't do on PC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But it's just something about it where it's just like, I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah.
And I can't think of another game where there's no usability issue. It's just like, I guess I wouldn't play Rock Band on Switch if I had to use a plastic, but it's just mostly like if it was hooked to the TV, I would have no problem doing that. But
I would say that I feel that way about Professor Layton, right? Like, if Professor Layton wasn't a handheld game, I can't see myself sitting down and booting up Professor Layton.
Mm-hmm. I was just about to use that game as an example, too.
And even as much as I love it, Phoenix Wright, I think
that's yeah. I was gonna say maybe Phoenix Wright would be a game where it wouldn't be, which is also I feel like that's kind of I don't know why because we played like Doki Doki on
right.
We played like a. What do you call it, Trevor? Shoot, what's
it's not really an emulator, but
the genre though.
Damn, dating sim.
Yeah, like a character. I don't remember what the genre. Just like that type where it's like stills of the characters.
Or, visual novel.
Yeah. Like we've played visual novels on PC, no problem. But for whatever reason, I also agree that I don't know if Phoenix Wright would be as fun on not mobile, not on the go. And I mean, I get it. Like I might be the only one that feels this way, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and just kind of talking about it, like would Catherine be as fun if it didn't have that supplementary stuff of like a sim game as well, right? If it was just like night by night instead of having the bar, the dialogue, will that game still be as fun? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's where I was getting at. Whereas, like when I asked Marcus, does this game communicate to him? Is there something other than just the challenge of completing the levels, whether it be like like in Celeste, where you kind of have collectibles for completing the levels, or something other than just the challenge of getting over that hurdle.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you say that? Did you have anything, Greg?
What was the original question?
Oh, just about like I mean, you were the one that started saying that you didn't have any draw to playing this game on PC, or like you wish you had this on Switch or some just handheld. But I was just wondering for you, did you have any issues, or do you think that this is going to be something that you're going to continue to play?
Oh yeah. Nah, I mean, I'm like I said, if I stream, it might be something to throw on and do it then, just to try and have something else to vibe out to. But yeah, I don't see myself really going back and trying to bang out this unless it's for that. Again, if I do get a Switch, it'll probably be, I can see myself finishing it on that. But yeah, not on PC.
So, but you do think it's like a good game. It just maybe you're not vibing well with it.
Yeah, it's just like the nature. Even when I played this game, like I literally couldn't play it longer than 30 minutes. Like it would just be, I would get on it for a little bit and maybe bang out a few puzzles, and then I would hit a roadblock, and then I'd be like, oh, I don't want to look this up. I'm just gonna turn this off and just go do something else, and then come back. And then, but the thing was, at least I kept wanting to come back. Like I would, after maybe 15, 20 minutes or whatever, and maybe an hour later, I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna try some more of this, and then. It was just like a cycle of that over and over, and it was like, it would have been nice to have the convenience of, I don't have to sit in front of my computer for this, and I can just be anywhere in the house doing this,
Well, let me tell you something, Greg. There's a lot of games like that. You just got to get a Switch.
Go ahead and get that Switch, big dog.
I have to do it.
Hey, there was over Christmas break, or we went up to my wife's family gathering or whatever, and her little cousin had this game on Switch, and him and his sister, who's a little bit older than him, they were playing it, and what would happen is he would play, get stuck, pass it over to her, she'd play, get stuck, and they kept passing it back and forth, and I'm over there sucking my teeth saying, damn, I got this on PC.
So what you're saying is this is a party game.
Hey, I'm pretty sure my wife could have knocked out some of these levels I was stuck on.
Yeah, that's such a fishy thing, though, right? It's just like what platform you pick it on totally dictates your enjoyment of the game. I found that out with the Telltale games. Like, if you bought those games on consoles, trash, absolute trash. But if you bought them on PC, it was like nothing. You had no technical. Well, I didn't have any technical difficulties, like the game wasn't freezing or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really wild that depending on what system you pick, definitely changes your opinion of the overall game.
Yeah. Did you? Okay, so I kind of showed my hand early, but was there anything? This is my last question. Was there anything that you guys didn't like about this game? Because I know most of it has been positive, and I said earlier that really the only thing I didn't like was the music. Was there anything that you guys didn't like about the game?
I'm kind of with you on that. The music, I played it on mute. And I played my scam rap in the background. So, but just the music and, yeah, that's about it, because there's really not much to really critique about the game, because I'm here for the puzzle. The graphics are what they are. I thought they were cute, but for the most part, I think the music is what really got me.
Dante said it doesn't have enough 50 Cent.
Oh, God.
You're right, though.
Oh, my God.
What about you, Trevor?
It took a little while to orient myself to this game. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I don't know if it is a bad thing. But I think I mentioned in our group chat, like in the earlier levels, there are certain lines of text that you can put together that don't work until later. And it kind of tricked me because it kind of limited the way I thought or the way I approached certain levels, like to get to the solutions. Like I think in the earlier levels, if you try to put together a noun, an operator, and then another noun, it doesn't work because that particular solution doesn't, I guess isn't conducive to getting you to the solution, whereas it's necessary in latter levels.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like I said, I think I mentioned that in our group chat. And so for like maybe the first 2 or 3 subworlds, I was, kind of cautious about what I put together, even though, you do have that rewind feature. It still made me think like, oh, well, I already know that doesn't work, so I'm not even going to waste my time trying it. But then when I actually got around to trying it and it worked, then it just kind of opened my eyes like, oh, well.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. But that's probably my only con to this game.
You got anything, Greg?
No, like Reese said, just the music for me. Like, this is like more of a podcast game, or like I'll just throw on a playlist in the background. Like there was a few tracks that
ain't no bangers though.
Yeah, there was a few, but
yeah, I was about to say I didn't mind the soundtrack.
It was definitely just background music.
It had a couple of vibes in there.
I mean, I guess
it didn't have no bop in it.
I need to play a game with a bop. My puzzles need a little bounce to them. Yeah, I mean that's really it for me though. Like I said, like this game overall, it didn't vibe with me. But I'm not gonna say this was not a well-made game, and that's just a Marcus problem. That's not a Baba problem, But besides the music, it is. Besides the music, everything else about this game was good. So, do we got anything else for Baba?
Baba is rock. And that's it.
I'm really interested. I know we kind of glossed over like what other puzzle games we kind of compared this to in the discussion, but y'all think there's anything similar to this out there, or is this completely original?
Trying to think.
I think this game is completely original, and I would say I think this game personally, is, and maybe this is me going on a limb, but I think this game is like Super Meat Boy kind of level of like difficulty as far as a puzzle game in my experience. I don't know if I only play easy puzzle games or something. But I definitely think that this game, if you play puzzle games, you're going to get it. But I don't think this game is good for people that haven't, flexed that muscle in a while.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. There's really nothing like this out there. I was trying to compare it to, old educational games where you have to put the noun and verb together. But that's nothing like this. So, yeah. This game is completely original in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the most similar game I can think of to this game is probably Typo Man. I don't know if you have ever seen that. It's like a platformer where you can spell words. Like you're actually working with letters rather than words. But I don't know, that game had some good reviews, but I didn't too much care for the puzzle part of it. And I don't know if it was mentioned in the intro, but did any of y'all see that this game, there was a clone that beat it to release?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I talked about it in the intro.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember if I read that or if one of y'all brought it up earlier.
Mm-hmm. Likely story.
Did you try to look up that game?
I mean, it's called Baba Is You, and it was released by a French developer. Let's see what it says.
Oh, that was okay. I didn't know that it was called the same thing.
Yeah, it was called the same thing. Let's see. It said similar graphics, but I couldn't find an image of what it looked like. But it was the same game or same. Shoot, what am I trying to say? Same name, same concept. They just put it out prior to, and I don't even know what you would search because I typed in Baba Is You French, fake Baba Is You, and
Clone or something.
Yeah.
I'm looking at one now. Well, I don't even think this is a clone. I think this is just somebody who made like a similar.
You gotta respect that type of scumbaggery, though.
I mean, you're right.
I mean, I think it's becoming more common, especially with, I guess, games like this, because just like Donut Country
County. you already got the title for the knockoff.
What was another game that had a really good concept and just got beat by like
There was like a weird Chinese Overwatch clone. When,
there was.
When Overwatch came out. And, dude. And that was another game that came out because it beat Overwatch to release. I can't think of it now.
I'm pretty sure there's League, there's probably League clones and Dota clones.
Because it was on PS4.
Oh, the one that was released by the Borderlands people?
No, not
I know what you're talking about.
Man, because that game just got ripped from the
the servers just got shut down.
No, it's Battleborn. I'm talking about Paladins.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I thought one of the Battleborn I thought was going to be rocking until the end of the year.
Yeah, that's Battleborn. Paladins was kind of like that clone that never really picked up.
Nah.
Mm-hmm. Man, there were I feel like there were a bunch of Left 4 Dead clones when that game came out.
Almost
too.
I made one. It was so popular. And then I saw a little bit of news about a Pokemon clone.
Oh, Tim. One of my friends actually just wrote me about that yesterday.
I don't know if I can
coming
do
out
that
soon.
Unless the protagonist's name is Bash Betchin, I can't. I can't support that. Like, if you go to scumbag all the way. All right, don't halfway it.
And Dante mentioned a similar game as Steven's Sausage Roll. I've never heard of it.
You about to search that?
Oh, you got to use safe search.
Turn safe search on.
Alright, I'm about to sacrifice myself for y'all. Oh, it don't look that bad.
Turn on incognito.
Nah, I want them to know.
I want all the smoke.
Yeah, that game looks weird.
Dig the art style, though.
I don't. It's like, oh, so they just made a game in Minecraft. Okay.
Jeez Louise.
I guess
this makes me want to go back and actually playing Baba Is You makes me want to go back and try some of those 3DS puzzle games again, like Pushmo.
Oh, I remember that game.
And Picross.
Picross the GOAT. Picross the GOAT.
Game of Sheetrock.
And Professor Layton, because Professor Layton just had those gratuitous, like really weird puzzles, but it definitely scratched that itch for like puzzle games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's definitely. I felt the same way where it's just kind of like, damn, like I should probably play more puzzle games. So then that way we don't got to play games that have puzzles in them and then talk about puzzles.
Oh, God bless.
All right, well, we got anything else for Baba?
Nah, try to come out first next time.
So what we say? Great game, great experience.
Yeah, definitely would recommend.
Greg?
Yep, great game, great experience.
Trevor?
Excellent game, excellent experience.
Oh, okay. So I'm expecting this to be number one for you for a while.
Oh yeah, it's definitely my number one right now.
Damn, it's only downhill from here. Trevor like, this game is fun. There ain't no Baba though. Baba is better.
I mean, you're saying we might play Oscar's Wrath this year, so.
Hey, yo.
Hey, you didn't even played it before. How do you know you're gonna like it?
What, Oscar's Wrath?
Yeah.
I have played it.
Oh, who hadn't played it?
Was it Dante? No, I'm pretty sure Dante played
I
it.
think we all had played it then.
I think that's one of the reasons why.
Yo, but how wild of a game that was, though, right? Like, the entire other 35% of the game was just hid behind DLC. What was that about?
Trevor, you played the DLC?
Yeah, I played the DLC.
All of it?
Yeah.
Why was there like
even the anime?
you beat the game, then you had to buy the ending, and then there was like that wasn't the real ending. This DLC is the actual real ending.
Got him.
That was, and then the Ryu, the Azura versus Ryu, Azura versus Evil Ryu, and Azura versus Akuma.
Man.
It's the crossover we needed.
Oh man,
Most ambitious crossover ever.
they should put Azura on Street Fighter V.
Man, they talk about how Street Fighter V and Marvel Infinite was Capcom's like bung up, but man, Asura's Wrath, dog.
All right, listeners, you heard it here first. Asura's Wrath coming in 2020.
We'll see. Wait on it. So what we say, Azura's Wrath and Greg getting the Switch. Those things happen in 2020.
Hey, it's the Switch is looking pretty likely.
Man, you should have been had that. We could have been playing Golf Story.
Shoulda. It's all good.
All right. Well, oh shoot, Reed got out again. Well, where can people find you at, Trevor?
You can find me on the Sylph Arena at Lyric Unsung. I'm trying to get my global rank up and hopefully make it to a regional tournament one day.
Where can people find you at, Greg?
You can find me on Twitter at Boombox Hero. Me on Twitch at Magnegro with a 0 instead of O at the end. I've been trying to work on my YouTube, so you can find me on YouTube at.
All right. Where can people find you at, Reed?
Oh, he got. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got kicked out. But you can find me at Inventor of the Slap on Twitter. And yeah. And Fubu Poppy at Instagram.
That's a great name. You can find me on Instagram at Marq Dizzle. And I will be out of country. I'll be posting some pictures of some great food. And also R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. Yeah, that was some way to ruin the day news. Holy cow, man! You said what?
20.
I was just sitting down and I saw the news. I was
Oh man, I got 3 texts because I was at my friend's house and I wasn't on Facebook or anything, and I got 3 texts and I was like, damn, there's no way nobody would text me. Like 3 people would have texted me this, and then I started reading and like, man, that hit. So yeah, I didn't want to say it in the beginning of the episode, so I said I had to hold it for the end. You know, but damn. So Baba Is You, pretty legit. Next month is that your month, right, Greg?
I think so. Is that what we're doing? Oh no, we're doing the fan game at the end of the month, or the
end of the yeah. Just because we needed to kind of catch up because we got behind schedule, so it's going to be Greg's month, February, and we got what do we got, Greg? Because we got 2 games, and you got to choose the order.
I think we were starting with Her Story first.
All right.
So.
And then what's the other game?
It's Gunpoint, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So Her Story and Gunpoint. Those are the games we're going to be playing in February. So be on the lookout for those. If you like tuning into Miss Checkpoints to find out about hidden gems, cult classic and indie games, and share us with your friends, family, and the not shitty subreddit communities you're in. Comment on our Facebook page, add us on Twitter, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, preferably 5 stars, so we can appear higher in the leisure category. And hit us up on any of those platforms and let us know what you want to hear us play, what you want to hear us talk about. And, twitch.tv/mixcheckpoints. We're going to try to have a more legit schedule and like have that posted in advance, so then that way people can like, you know, check us out live instead of, right, Trevor? Is that the plan?
Yep.
So yeah, we'll try to have a schedule going more regularly and have that planned, so that way we're just not popping up randomly. So, you know, just trying to get the podcast to more ears and the stream to more eyes. So anything else? We good? All right. Well, we're Miss Checkpoints, and we're out. Peace.